Hey guys, Clay here from Ham Shack Down. Hey, today I'm going to be rewriting some system software on some different devices, and my laptop here off to my left that I was running Ubuntu 22.10 with Direwolf and Yak for APRS as a local iGate and Digipeater. And I decided I wanted to offer up a bulletin board system for the community, so I'm going to host one of those. And one of the requirements is running a Linux operating system. So I wanted to rewrite this computer here fresh, and in doing so, I'm going to wind up downloading and creating the image for EmcommTools R4. I had R3 on several devices successfully, some Getac tablets and a Getac K120, and worked out really well. There was a few things that I came across that I don't know if they're bugs in the system or if they were just maybe designed that way, but when I ran R3 as a Digipeater, my call sign showed up in Phoenix, Arizona, even with the GPS dongle and the grid square coordinates correctly entered. So, and then there was an issue with Pat Winlink trying to get that going. And I also ran into, I think that might have been a fault maybe on one of the DigiRig cables. I've been having issues with the VX6R and the cable that connects from the radio to the DigiRig light. And what it winds up doing is it just continues to spin. And I think what I'll do is just show you a short clip of kind of what I'm talking about. But I've contacted Dennis the first time around, and he immediately sent me out a cable, which is cool. And it worked for a day or two, and then it started doing it again. And I resorted to using one of the cables from the TNC3 or TNC4 that I had by mobile linked, and that seats just fine in the VX6R. But when I connect it to the DigiRig light, I think there might be some different wiring there where it doesn't operate properly. So trying to figure that out yet. But today we're going to be running, I just installed 2210 on this computer and went through the process. I'm going through the EmcommTools website to create the image, and that's what I'm going to be doing on this computer here today. And we're going to get that set up and get the image created and get it loaded up on a couple devices. So I'll start with some of the Getac tablets that I'm running. These are the Getac T800 units, the Gen 2 version. They're 8 gigs of RAM, 128 memory, and they work perfect for running EmcommTools in just a few applications. They're really quick. And I love the ruggedized, ability of these things. I've dropped them on several occasions, and they're rock solid. They got the bumpers on the side, and I decided to continue just running the Getac tablets and the Getac laptop. And I already purchased these, and I wasn't going to make the investment into all the Panasonic gear that Tech Prepper is using. So I'm just kind of utilizing the stuff that I have. And this one is the K120. The tablet is removable from the dock there, and you can take that out. But it is running R3 right now, and we're going to change that up today with R4 and see if we can fix some of those bugs. And if not, I'll reach out and just kind of mention a few things. But I think it's good for us to kind of just give the input on some of the stuff, the software that's being developed, and see if we can get these bugs ironed out so that we can run some smooth operations. And you're always going to run into stuff like that when you're creating new things. But I wanted to mention here that the screens on these Getac T800 G2 tablets, this one here is a little bit more shiny. This one here actually has a matte anti-reflective screen put on it. It came that way new when I bought it, and I kind of like that. I forget the nit value on these units, but they're definitely daytime bright, and I'll kind of run you through. When you're installing anything on the Getac tablets, you're going to need a keyboard, just like the Panasonics. This one doesn't have a You can get a docking system for them, but they're really bulky, and there's a lot to it. So I just wound up getting an iKey keyboard. This one's the illuminated red version, which is nice. And then when you're installing the system software, you're going to have, your USB drive. I do have Ventoy installed on it. I will leave a link in the description for the installation process of the Ventoy app or application on the USB drive. That was kind of tricky for me. I actually went through a couple of USB drives, and if you don't do it correctly, I burned through 2 of them, and they're not even recognizable the way I did the install. So on either the Windows or the ISO systems, so they're just, I don't know what it does to that when it's not installed correctly, but I'll leave a link to how I got Ventoy installed on the USB drive, and you can put your ISO images onto that. I have several different versions of Ubuntu for the Linux distros, and I'll have, I think, R3 on there yet, and R4 after today. So we'll get some of this stuff up and running. Yeah, I'm going to continue with going through the installation process and getting this image created for the R4 version of EmcommTools, and we're going to get it loaded up on some devices. And I'll show you when I go through the process of installing it on the Getac tablets. That can be really tricky. You absolutely have to have a keyboard, and you cannot turn the device whatsoever because of the gyro mechanism in it that turns the screen from portrait to landscape. If you move that throughout the process, the screen will black out and you have to start all over. So there's a few things, little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So we'll get this loaded up, and I'll bring you over to when I start installing it on the tablets. I'll give you some advice there. Also, what I've noticed with the Getac tablets is they kind of have I don't know if it's a proprietary BIOS thing in their system, but every time you start up the computer, kind of like Dell, like when you fire up a Dell, whether you're running Linux or Ubuntu, sometimes you always get that little symbol. But Getac has their own set of functionality within their devices that without running Windows, you really can't use them. They have like their own system software that's built into the Getac tablets, and all that goes away when you're installing a Linux operating system. So you do lose some functionality with the Getac tablets. We'll get this installed, and we'll pick up here in a few minutes. All right, guys, so this is just finishing up. I'm just copying over the image from the home folder that it was created to into my Ventoy drive, and I'm going to get set up, and we're going to try and see if we can get this on a Getac tablet. Okay, guys, so we just installed EmcommTools R4, and I put that on the Ventoy drive. I have the iKey keyboard connected to the USB port. One thing I really liked about this keyboard was the fact that it had 2 USB ports. So there's one on this side, and there's one right here. So I have that plugged in. I have power hooked up, and we should be ready to go. The boot menu on the Getac units, once you start it up, you need to swipe the top left corner of the screen, which will bring you into the boot menu. Just a quick tip, I don't know if we touched on this, but the Getac tablets, or any tablet or computer for that matter, you want to make sure that the BIOS is unlocked. If the BIOS is locked, you're not going to be able to do squat with these things. So if you're buying used tablets and computers on eBay or used on Marketplace, even if they say they're unlocked, I just recommend just asking, sending them a quick message, and just making sure that the BIOS is unlocked. The other tablet that I have, the Getac unit, the BIOS was locked, and I purchased it unknowing, so that kind of limited me on what I could do with that tablet. But we're going to go ahead and select the boot menu, And we're going to select this drive. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. So with these Getac units, everything's in a vertical position here. And during the installation process of, I know for EmcommTools for sure, some of the Linux operating systems, if you rotate this device at all during the process, the screen is going to black out and you're going to be forced to start all over. So we are not going to touch this unit during this process. And we'll be able to get as far as we can by touch screen, but I'm going to use the mouse pad here. But once we get to the sign-in area of the installation, that's where the keyboard is going to be recommended, and you won't be able to do that without the keyboard. So we are going to select the very first one here, EmcommTools OS Community R4 Final. So we're going to go ahead and select enter there. We are going to go through the normal installation, try and install Ubuntu, and it's going to go ahead and run through its course of business here. So I'm going to cut in and out here. The process doesn't take too long. And there you'll notice that everything's kind of in that vertical position or portrait mode. And I've talked to Getac several times on their customer service. And if you want to get a hold of somebody quick, I tell you what, the Getac customer service, when you hit that one for customer service, somebody picks up usually within a minute, and you're online talking to somebody. And believe me, I've talked to them several times with these Getac units. They're super friendly, super informative, and excellent customer service support. So the EmcommTools logo just came up, and I did hear a notification on the speaker that said, I think, voice activation on or something. And so you're going to notice that the window is partially cut off, and it's going to be like that throughout the entire process. So we are going to go with the install. And this is where I found out that when you try rotating the screen, everything blacks out. So we are going to just hit enter for return. And actually what I'm going to try and do, it's a little hard here with trying to hold this with one hand, but I am going to see if I can move this window over a little bit so we can kind of see. So there is that option. So we're going to go ahead and continue. And this should be normal installation. So we are going to erase disk and install etc R4 Final. And we are going, I just want to double check. I've ran through this a million times, but I just like to double check the windows. So that's where it's going to go. And there should be one more pop-up window that shows up before we have to enter our username. Continue. All right, and then here we are going to select
This should be Chicago area. Yeah, Chicago area. Continue. All right, so this is where we're going to need the keyboard. And I'm going to go ahead and we are just going to use ham for the password because it's easier. You don't have to use the numbers on the keyboard when you're logging in. We're going to continue. And there we go. We are going to be installing this. Everything. It's just going to copy the files and we should be good to go here. So I will pick up on this. I'm going to let this run. This is going to take a few minutes here and we'll come back and check out the final installation. Okay, so I propped this thing up and removed the USB drive. And we are going to hit enter and watch the first initial startup on a Getac T800 Gen 2 version. Okay, so we have the login screen and the keyboard did pop up. Awesome. HAM is going to be the password. And so we do have a little issue here with I'm going to unplug this because we don't need that anymore. And first things first is we're going to go into settings and see if we can adjust the screen here. And we are going to go to display. Orientation is set to landscape, so we are going to do portrait left. Apply. Keep changes. And we might need to do some adjustments with the screen resolution, but it is up and sometimes this issue gets resolved by just restarting the computer a couple times. I know it sounds quirky, but there are just some oddball things that take place with Linux operating systems. Sometimes if you just type in something in an application to get keyboards to work and whatnot, but I'm going to mess with this for a few minutes here and see if we can get this figured out here, the screen. Okay, so after just making a few changes here, I unpinned a few things from the dock and messed around with the fractional scaling. I turned it on and turned it off, kept it at 100%, and just restarted the computer or the tablet, and everything seems to be working fine. And I haven't had any issues in the past after making just those couple changes. So we're up and running here with R4. Next order of business is to get R4 loaded up on the Getac K120 and start testing out some of these digital modes. All right, you guys, so we successfully installed R4, EmcommTools R4 on the Getac tablet, and next up is going to be the K120 and getting this computer behind me up and running with Direwolf and BBS bulletin board system. And I also wanted to give a quick mention. So when I was going through the first EmComm Essentials series, there was a knife that I used that I carry on my EDC, and I wanted to give away one of the leftover ones I had from my shop here. This is the SE
Randall Adventure Training. Zancudo was the name of it. That's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of it offhand. I carry the Avispa, which is a little bit bigger, but I'm going to do a giveaway to whoever watches this video, likes, shares, subscribes, and leaves a comment. I'm going to go ahead and send a private message and send one of these out to the new subscribers that come across this video here. So thanks for hanging out and going through the process here with me of getting this stuff installed on these on this tablet, and going through. I hope some of the tips and that I gave for the Getac tablets will help you out if you're running a Getac tablet. And let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch up with you next time. KC9TMU 73.